Tiger TV News with Hunter Cole. Mason Orr. Logan Confan. Featuring Josh Wonderly, Evan Santos, Aiden Tregear, Reese Fenstermacher, Seth Wagner, Amanda Beidler, Dylan Wenner, Mason Harris, Joe Hines, and your host, Mr. Gaston.
Hi, I'm Seth Wagner, and welcome to Tiger TV News. We are back with a new crew, new gear, and even a new studio. Speaking of new, Fleetwood just got a new superintendent following the retirement of Dr. Eakin. Now to Logan with more on the story.
Following the retirement of Dr. Paul Eakin at the end of our last school year, we welcome our new superintendent, Dr. Greg Miller.
Well, my name's Greg Miller. I'm very excited to be the new superintendent here in Fleetwood Area School District.
We asked him about his initial thoughts on the Fleetwood Area School District community.
One thing, and it goes back to some of my first impressions, I've been greeted very warmly, and I really appreciate that. As I walk the halls here at the high school, as I walk around the middle school, the other buildings, or even at sporting events, just the fact that everybody is willing to say hello and stop, and I've talked to a number of students. It's been fantastic. I really appreciate that.
We had also asked about the changes for the new school year. He elaborated on providing more access to technology in schools.
Get those devices into those rooms so that the kids and teachers can learn how to use those devices, and then starting next year, 8th grade students would have those devices to walk around.
Students seemed excited about the changes.
I really like Greg Miller. I think he's a really good superintendent for this school. He's down to earth. He's involved in student activities. You see him at all the sporting events, and you can tell he's really interested in like student-led clubs and everything about the school. So I'm really looking forward to working with him on multiple things over the years.
Dr. Miller has many ideas for enhancements to the district without changing the system that was already in place.
One of the goals of any superintendent coming in is to come in, listen, and learn, to really understand what's already in place. The last thing I want to do is come in and suddenly change everything. As I've said in previous opportunities, there's a lot of great things going on here in the district, and I don't want to disrupt those. What I would prefer to do is have an opportunity to begin to enhance the strong programs that are already here.
Most importantly, Dr. Miller is excited to work with each of us to make sure our school district is better for everybody.
The best things for me is to learn from students what it's like to be a student here in Fleetwood Area School District. So I'd encourage the students to continue to do that. Don't ever hesitate to stop and talk with me, and just continue the great efforts they've done. And really looking forward to seeing all the success that will come from this year.
Reporting for Tiger TV News, I'm Logan Confair.
Thank you, Logan. Now it's time for this week's Random Ramblings with Mr. Farr.
High school football game. Hi, I'm Mr. Farr, and this is Random Ramblings. This topic of discussion is high school football games. So, high school football games. What can I say? Fleetwood does have a football team. Don't know how good they're doing this year. I haven't been to an actual high school football game this year yet. I've been to a few in the past. It's always a good time to hang out, get some food. Walking tacos are always good. The marching band always puts on a good show. So high school football games, I don't know if they're as popular as they were when I was in high school, but pretty much the whole school used to come out. Don't know if they're still doing that. Like I said, haven't been to a high school football game yet this year. Somebody wants to bring me a schedule, I'll gladly come to a high school football game. But as of now, haven't made it to one, so I don't have much more to say about that.
Thank you, Mr. Farr. Random Ramblings will be back next episode with a new teacher. 33 million people play fantasy football each year. Here's Mr. Dreisbach to help you with your team for the upcoming season.
Fantasy football draft time. This is the time of year that you build your championship winning team that hopefully stays on top from week 1 all the way through to your playoffs, whether that be week 16 or 17. I'm here today to give you a couple strategies as we enter the drafting time of the season. There's a couple things that you need to consider when drafting your fantasy football team. Obviously, the players to avoid, the players that can be your sleepers, as well as the obvious choices. Now, your obvious choices may vary, as well as your sleepers, depending on how many people are in your league, whether or not you're drafting towards the front or the end of your league, as well as what the scoring format is of your league. So, if you are drafting in the 1, 2, or 3 spot, your obvious choices this year would be, in no particular order, David Johnson, running back from Arizona, Le'Veon Bell, running back from Pittsburgh, or Antonio Brown, wide receiver from Pittsburgh. In most mock drafts, those are the 3 players going 1, 2, or 3. Now, in terms of sleepers and guys to avoid, sleepers this year is a giant question mark. Christian McCaffrey, running back from Carolina, is getting drafted really early in a lot of mock drafts, but I don't know if he's going to warrant the late 2nd or early 3rd round where a lot of players are drafting him. However, if he turns out to be the primary ball carrier in a Carolina offense that tends to run the ball before passing the ball, he could end up being a sleeper player this year. Now, in terms of guys to avoid, it's more so don't overreach and draft a guy too early. I'll use my home team of the Philadelphia Eagles as an example. They finally went out and got a legit wide receiver in Alshon Jeffrey. However, Philadelphia's offense tends to spread the ball around. So if you can get Alshon Jeffrey in a later round, maybe let's say round 4 or 5, that would be a steal. But if you're drafting Alshon Jeffrey in the 2nd round or early 3rd round, you might be a little disappointed if the ball ends up going to Torrey Smith or their tight end Zach Ertz, who's kind of scheduled to have a breakout year.
We will check back in with Mr. Dreisbach next episode. Now to Amanda for more on the Mixed Media Library.
Over the next 5 years, Fleetwood Area's high school library will be transformed into a new multimedia workspace. Mr. Barnett and Mr. Gaston will be collaborating to bring new forms of media resources to the hands of students and faculty. Resources will include cameras and equipment, media software, and the already accessible books. Mr. Barnett has already begun planning the new library layout.
I don't want the library to lose any of what it is right now. Just because we're looking to add to the library experience doesn't mean that it should necessarily lose anything. So I still want the books to be here. I still want the internet resources to be here. I still want us to be the #1 place you come for doing research. But I want to add to that. I want it to be a place you can come to make videos, to record things, to 3D print something.
Although it is only in its beginning stages, changes have already occurred, including the installation of Mac computers that already have editing software available. Mr. Gaston has already transferred all media equipment to a new media room within the library.
We should all be creating media, not just consuming it. So we're kind of hoping to add that side of things to the library as well, where you can make things and not just, read them or watch them on a computer, but you're also contributing to the media pool and see how that turns out.
Mr. Barnett has created a 3D model of the layout of the upcoming additions to the library. This 3D model allows the school board to physically see the changes that will occur. Over the next 5 years, expect to see more hustle and bustle in the library, which will be shared with Mr. Gaston's media students and library visitors. Reporting from Tiger TV, this is Amanda Beidler. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Amanda. That does it for this week's episode of Tiger TV News. We now leave you with a preview of Freshman Guidelines, a segment coming to Tiger TV starting next episode. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, I'm Seth Wagner.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Bad boys, what you want, what you want, what you gonna do? When Chevy John don't come for you. Tell me,
I just want to go home.
what you gonna do? Yeah. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when